Tonight, fallout continues in the wake of the decision to proceed with Site C. We learn more about the attempted terror attack in New York City. And allegations are coming to light about the mother of a famous bullied child. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Hugh Smith. Yesterday, a province-changing decision was made. The NDP government decided to continue building the Site C dam. And there are a few pro-Site C advocates who are pleased with Premier John Horgan's decision. CJDC's Eric Tashner has more.
For the last few weeks, there was one question on the minds of all British Columbians. Would Site C sink in the Peace River or stay afloat? Yesterday, Premier John Horgan announced construction will continue and the dam will be completed by 2024. The price tag for Site C is rising, however. Originally, it was set to cost $8.3 billion, and now it's been raised $2.4 billion to a grand total of $10.7 billion. Peace River South MLA Mike Bernier says it was tough for Horgan to make the announcement, but also difficult to make the choice to build the dam in the first place.
It was a tough decision, first of all, to decide to build the dam, but that was made after 8 years of local consultation, working with energy experts, working with local First Nations and communities.
Horgan stated yesterday in his press conference that the decision to continue construction will help in the long run, and it will fund dozens of schools, hospitals, and bridges. Site C has been a part of the hydroelectric generation plant since 1958. The $4 billion the government said they would lose would cost around $860 per person. And Premier Horgan says he doesn't want to put that burden on the shoulders of BC residents.
Reading between the lines of the 20-page executive decision, I saw that it was they were going to approve this. Basically because the alternatives to Site C, any clean energy alternative to Site C, are intermittent.
FSJ for LNG Chairman Alan Yu says the dam's decision gives everyone an insight into the state of mind of John Horgan and the NDP.
It's very timely. They didn't waste any time. They did not do any delays. And ultimately, their decision is based on what's good for BC.
Meanwhile, in Dawson Creek, Bernier says completing the dam will create enough energy to power around 450,000 homes each year, but understands why it causes such a huge divide in the province.
Well, anytime you're making a decision like this, it affects people, and you're going to have people for or people against, which makes a tough decision for a premier or for a government.
The dam will be the third to be completed along the Peace River, and it will flood more than 83 kilometers of the valley outside of the energetic city. Eric Tashner, CJDC TV News, Dawson Creek.
Another local politician says he is pleased with the decision on Site C. Prince George Peace River Northern Rockies MP Bob Zimmer has released a statement saying it's encouraging to hear that the BC government has decided to proceed with this important project. Site C will continue to have a positive economic impact on our local economy through the jobs created, the growth of our local businesses, and the overall sense of confidence in our community. Zimmer also says that the project received environmental approval from the federal government in 2014 and that BC Hydro has over 80 legally binding conditions that need to be met over the life of the project. But not everyone in the Peace region is celebrating the government's decision to continue with the construction of Site C. Opponents of the dam, First Nations, and many landowners say they're dumbfounded by the government's decision to move forward with the project. And now those living in the valley face an uncertain future as they come to terms with the decision made by a government who promised to save the Peace River. CJDC's Brendan Miller has more.
They symbolize support for the Peace River Valley. Hundreds of people from around the world have donated funds to have their names on a yellow stake and support First Nations legal challenges to protect the valley from the impacts of Site C, including Premier John Horgan. But yesterday, his government announced it would give the green light and move ahead with Site C, despite the BC Utilities Commission's report stating the project is over budget and not on schedule.
There was clearly no advantage to proceeding with Site C and a lot of reasons to terminate Site C out of that BCUC report. And then when you tack on all the other issues that have already been identified with the impacts of Site C on this river valley, it's like, well, it's going to be a no-brainer for any government now to step forward and say, it's not past the point of no return, sorry Christie, and this has to be terminated. And John Horgan, he blew it. It's that plain and simple. He blew it.
During Horgan's last visit to the Peace River Valley back in the fall of 2012, he met with landowners and showed his opposition to the project.
So he actually stood with us, took a picture with our Site C suck sign with a number of us.
Now some supporters of the newly elected premier feel betrayed by the decision to flood the valley.
I really try not to get political. I'm not a member of any party, but in the last day here, I've had numerous phone calls and emails from people I don't even know, who are ripping up their NDP memberships.
Boone says he's also concerned to see the government add more to the budget, which is currently pegged at $10.7 billion, and he expects that number to rise as the project continues, saying plans for farm mitigations and road realignments will only continue to add to the total cost.
A lot of misinformation has been used by John Horgan to rationalize continuing this project, and it's sad.
But despite the NDP's plans to construct the Site C dam, landowners here in the Peace River Valley say they have hope the project will be cancelled in the future.
Yesterday was a real blow and probably the most devastating announcement we've had, mainly because of who it came from. We expected that from Christie and Gordon Campbell and whatnot. We didn't expect that from Horgan, of course. And so what's going to happen now with this project, I don't know. But I think there's a chance this project somehow will still never proceed.
Brendan Miller, CJDC TV News from the Peace River Valley.
Canada's Supreme Court has a new Chief Justice, with the Prime Minister naming Justice Richard Wagner to the job. The 60-year-old was born in Montreal and studied law at the University of Ottawa. He practiced law for 20 years before being named to Quebec's Superior Court in 2004. Wagner was named to the Supreme Court by Stephen Harper in 2012.
We have gained an urbane.
He has the integrity, the wisdom, and the collegial spirit and cooperation that Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Canada needs.
Wagner replaces Chief Justice Beverly McLaughlin, who is stepping down after 28 years on the court. The Trudeau government is officially abandoning its plans to buy 19 Super Hornet fighter jets from a U.S. manufacturer, Boeing. Instead, it will be purchasing 18 used jets from Australia.
This is an exciting time for Canada and the Canadian Armed Forces. Strong, secure, and engaged place an unprecedented focus on ensuring our people and families are well supported and that our Canadian Armed Forces are equipped and well funded.
The government is now looking for bidders to replace the entire fleet of CF-18s with 88 new fighter jets by 2025. Boeing is eager to compete for the contract, but Ottawa says it has little chance of winning if it doesn't drop a trade challenge against Canadian manufacturer Bombardier. Now to the latest in the attempted terror attack in New York City. The suspect told investigators he was inspired by ISIS to set off that pipe bomb in one of the busiest subway stations in Manhattan. This morning, he's been charged with state and federal terrorism charges. We are now learning more about how he made that pipe bomb that didn't go off as intended. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has more.
This morning, 27-year-old Akayed Ullah still in the hospital with cuts and burns following this explosion caught on surveillance video. According to police, Ullah is the man seen here who detonated a homemade pipe bomb strapped to his body. That bomb exploding only partially and seriously wounding only the suspect. ABC News now learning more about what was inside that bomb. Law enforcement sources say it was built from a 12-inch pipe black powder, and a 9-volt battery with a wire that came from a Christmas light.
The device is based on a pipe bomb. It was affixed to his person with a combination of Velcro and zip tie. 5
other people did suffer minor injuries, including headaches and ringing in the ears, but none life-threatening, and all have been treated and released. Now, the search for answers. Why and how a 27-year-old living a quiet life in the U.S. for 7 years after immigrating from Bangladesh became inspired by ISIS, a suspect with no criminal background and not on the government's terrorism radar.
We are now seeing an increased number of attacks committed by people who are inspired by what they see online, who self-connect with a terrorist ideology, but operate separate or independent.
Among the charges filed against Ullah are 5 federal offenses, including use of a weapon of mass destruction and bombing of a place of public use. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, Port Authority, New York.
The mother of the young boy from Tennessee whose tearful video about being bullied went viral is now being accused of racist behavior. After multiple celebrities reached out to the boy online, some are also questioning her motive behind the post. A GoFundMe page for Keaton Jones raised $58,000, but the page now indicates it is no longer accepting donations. Here's TJ Holmes with that story.
I did not ever imagine for any of this to happen.
He's the brave boy from that heartbreaking video seen by more than 20 million people.
Why is my joy taken? Innocent people and finding a way to be mean to them.
Earning him invitations from a list of celebrities and a slew of famous friends.
This kid is all time. He's a legend. Go check him out. His name's Keaton.
But this morning, controversy is clouding Keaton's message after alleged social media posts some believe are from his mother, Kimberly Jones, caused a swift backlash from those who earlier quickly jumped online to support him.
We're not racist. I mean, and people that know us know that.
The Tennessee mother's Facebook account, which originally posted the bullying video, is now private. Jones told ABC News the photo of her family posing with the Confederate flag is real, but says it's not racist in any way.
It was meant to be ironic and funny and extreme. I am genuinely, truly sorry. If I could take it back, I would.
Despite Jones' photos and alleged writing coming to light, many people online are still choosing to stand with Keaton, saying they can separate the 11-year-old from his mother's reported actions. One tweeting, "We cannot hold kids accountable for the actions of their parents and family. Though disheartening, we were all moved by the effects of bullying and to end it. Let's continue to focus on that."
They want to hate me, I mean, and whatever, that's fine, but still talk to your kids. Talk to your kids, because this is, I said, this is an epidemic.
But at the center of it all, just one 6th grader who wanted to share his message against bullying.
Don't let it go to the point it did for me. You have friends. Stand up for people that are being bullied. If you see it, don't just watch it happen.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but first, here's what's happening where you live in tonight's community events.